shit. Finally, I'm back. Wait for some people to come in. We're gonna have some fun. I know I'm late. I know I'm late. I had to take care of some stuff first, but life be life, and so you got to do what you got to do. But that was a good win last night. I'm gonna wait till everybody come in. Wait for a few people to come in before I start. What's good, homie? Yeah. My back been messed up the last couple of weeks. Actually, not the last couple of weeks. Last couple of days, I've been having back spasms, so I had to sit out for a minute. But we back up. We gonna have some fun. We gonna talk about last night's activities. They gave us 4 nights off. Definitely gave us 4 nights off, so I had a chance to rest a little bit. But my back is killing me. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Oh, it's gonna be a movie. Don't worry about it. I just got to get over this back situation right now. Give it a couple more seconds. Once they hit the 2 minute mark, we just gonna ride in and have some fun. What's up? Hit that like button on the way in. I appreciate it. It ain't mandatory though. I'm gonna get busy and give you a reason to like everything, but hit that like button. It would be appreciated. But if not, we gonna work our way into that. I love what I saw last night. Yeah, I know. My back is killing me. I couldn't do the laugh even if I wanted to. My back was killing me. It still hurt right now. Them Tylenols, that 650, it helped out a lot, but I can't do the laugh. My back is killing me. It's gonna hurt. But yeah, 4 days off, that's what I expect. We have 4 days off. You give us 4 days to recuperate and think about things. I expected what I saw. That's what I wanted to see. You know what I mean? At some point, you got to draw the line. And I like the fact that we drew the line and we stood on business. Them first quarter leads don't count. That shit out the window. This ain't 2010, 2012 to 2021. Ain't no lead safe. There's no lead that's safe anymore. With the addition of 3-point shooting, you can be up by 30 damn near in the first quarter and still get smoked. But the way they were down by 21 and then were up by 21 was magnificent to me. I love what I saw. And the fact that we didn't have to shoot 100 threes like Boston to get the win was another beautiful thing. The thing that baffles me at times is the fact that we can be so efficient, and that's not a young team trait. But it's beautiful to see that we have these moments where we win is because 53% from the field on 73 shots is crazy. 54% from three in a game that was pretty much it was one of them ones where it would have been acceptable if we would have lost that one after going down in the first quarter by 21 to Orlando, who's also a young team but a little bit further along than us. We would have understood it. But to fight back and win, it's a different situation now. You know what I mean? And it's not going to change my expectations on the team, but I just accept the fact that there is greatness there. It's just going to take time. You know what I mean? But how much time is it going to take? That's the thing that's so frustrating about what we're going through. Because when you get these moments, you want more of them. You know what I mean? It looked good. I'm not going to say it was a playoff type of situation, but it felt like they took it serious and everybody, like both teams wanted to win and both teams needed to win. You know what I mean? And for us, yeah, the second unit looked good. 41 points, 20 rebounds, 12 assists from the second unit. Magnificent. Magnificent. I mean, you could be out of here, whoever Brian Russo is. You can get off my dick and get up out of here, nigga. You came to me, nigga. So whoever Brian Rizzo is, you can get the fuck up out of here. But yeah, beautiful game, man. Beautiful game. A lot of fun to watch. I didn't get a chance to watch the full game. I caught the highlights. I was at work. But it is what it is. Nah, ain't no bro chill, homie. Whoever Brian Russo is, get up out of here, homie. If you talking about me talking out my ass, you can get up out of here, B. But as far as the team is concerned, sometimes you gotta have these moments where you draw your line in the sand and you get to work. We could keep talking about what the structure is gonna be, what is I understand. Man, listen. Hold on. Whoever Brian Rizzo is, get the fuck up out of here. We having our conversation. Get up out of here, homie. Find something else to do. We having our conversation. At some point, we keep talking about structure and what the team is going to look like in the future. At some point, you got to get back to hooping. You just got to draw your line in the sand and get to work. The plays ain't going to work all the time. Everything ain't going to work perfectly all the time. But the reality is you still got to get us to win. And they got it. The sooner they figure that out, the better. You know what I mean? It's not easy. It's not easy to keep saying it's a young team and we still got to worry about how we're going to develop and what the identity is going to be. And we're not hooping. And we're not understanding that it's still about wins. The structure is going to fall apart at times. How guys are going to play at times is going to be wishy-washy. We're a young team, but winning is something that's very important. Because at some point, we're not going to care how young the team is. At some point, we're not going to care like what players are doing. We just want to win. We want to be a part of a winning situation as a fan. You know what I mean? I'm no expert. You know what I mean? I'm just somebody who enjoys watching the game. And no, if you know basketball, whoever Brian Rizzo is, bum ass nigga, if you know the game, you don't have to watch the full game to understand basketball. The reality is it's only supposed to be played one way. And right now they divided up into entertainment and what we see in the playoffs, which is a more true or traditional form of basketball. But the reality is at some point you got to hoop. Do what works. Figure out what works. And sometimes the plays ain't going to be, we're not going to shoot 53% on 73 shots or 54% on 24 threes. We're not going to be that efficient, but we still have the responsibility of figuring out how to win that game. The biggest part for me was not succumbing to that 21-point deficit in the first quarter. Now, I didn't see the 905 game, but you're not going to always be in a space mentally to want to win a game when you're down by 21 early, because that's everybody's MO. You get up to a big lead first time in the first quarter, and then you kind of control the tempo and control the conversation from there. In all honesty, Orlando, who's a little more advanced than us as far as a young team, I thought they were going to try and have more control. The fact that they let this slip away shows that there's flaws. And you can say they hit a rough patch, but they got Paolo back, and they missing Cole Anthony, who's the heart and beat of the bench. But it doesn't matter. At some point, they got to keep control of the game. And as a young team, it's hard to keep control of leads. There's certain things that you have to learn, and you can only learn that by letting things slip away and learning it the hard way. But my thing as far as the Raptors are concerned, we can't afford to just accept losing. That's not what this is about. I understand we're young, but we could use that. We can only use that excuse, but for so many times and for so many games before we get upset. You know what I mean? At some point, we gotta take this shit personal. Honestly, this ain't about analytics. It ain't about numbers. The reality is, if you're not going out there to win, you're not putting your best foot forward, because it's not going to take all of the game plan. It's not going to take all of the concepts. It's just going to take whatever it takes to win. You find something that you can leverage, you leverage it, and you continue on until you get to the point where you're victorious. You know what I mean? It's not hard. It's not hard to win in the NBA when everybody's playing the same way. Everybody's pretty much sticking to the script. The team that decides to step outside the lines and do things differently is going to be successful. And I want us to be that team more often than not. The last thing you want to be is a team that's predictable. Sometimes the game plan they're prepared for you to do everything that you plan on doing. So you're going to have another gear. And I think the fact that we're a young team and we're figuring out that we have to have another gear and understand that, listen, we got to figure out how to win these games. You know what I mean? How you doing? I see you, cool. Yeah, but it's one of the things where we got to understand It's cool to have structure, but at some point, you got to start taking this shit personal. That's important to me, more important to me than anything. You got to take these losses more personal. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers gonna dig into the analytics. That shit tells whatever story it wants to tell. Whatever stories you want analytics to tell, it's gonna tell for you because you can tailor it to whatever storyline you want to have. But at some point, winning is paramount over all things, and you want to get back to winning. What's this? It was good. Now you just, as far as the Scottie thing, they're gonna always put Scottie up against every young player because he's won all the awards so far. He's rookie of the year, all-star first, got a team kind of that we're trying to mold the team in his image. A lot of guys who were supposed to be better than him were supposed to have that nod sooner. And they all secretly think they're better because they can score a little better, because the game is geared towards scoring and players who have a certain skill set, especially the smaller players. Guys like Scottie's more of a power athletic type of player. So the reality is his power is being shunned. Like you can't be a power. You can't a DeMarcus Cousins or even a Kendrick Perkins or any of those power guys. They wouldn't be able to live in this NBA because that type of player isn't looked at as an asset. So they got to play more of a finesse game, and he's gonna have to figure it out. Or the game is gonna have to. It's gonna change into him being able to be more physical. But he's starting to figure it out a little bit more. Also, you know what I mean? He's starting deeper in the paint, moving around the perimeter a lot more, not settling for threes. And he's not hell-bent on running the point, which I like more than anything. I like it better when he's a point forward and not just a point guard, you know, just living that type of life. But the reality for me is it's like as you just want to see the team win. Like I don't get up to have these conversations if the team loses, it's tough. Cause then it look like you don't want to go in. I mean, yo, you could get the fuck up out of here. Hold on one second. Let me get the homie up out of here. Yeah, let's get him up out of here. Yeah, he out of here. My bad, fam. But the last thing you want to do is have a situation where you keep losing and then you start accepting it. I don't like being attached to losing. I don't get excited to talk about a team that's losing because there has to be an honesty there. And some of y'all ain't ready for a certain level of honesty. Like y'all want to hear what some of y'all want to hear what y'all want to hear. And sometimes the truth is harsh. It's tough to deal with. When you play like shit, you got to be able to say, listen, we ain't it right now. You know what I mean? The reality is, at some point, we got to start winning, or people get fired and we lose players. You know what I mean? And I don't have the patience right now. Like I'd rather be the villain than to tell you what you want to hear just for the sake of whatever algorithm or to seem friendly. Truth is, that last group of guys we had, they deserved all that hope that we were giving them. They were champions. We gave that last group all of our hope, all of our trust, and we were hoping that they would turn it around because they had the capability. These young guys, we don't know what the fuck they could do, realistically. We're hoping that they'll pan out. But those other guys, it was definitive. They won a championship. They played through the regular season and dominated. And that's what we hung our hat on. They don't get the extension of that type of grace. This new group, they got to prove themselves. And there's a certain level of truth that come with that. And sometimes you listen, when it don't look right, you got to say it don't look right. But you know, some people want to cater to the algorithm, and some people want to hustle. I ain't in that mode. The truth right now is we got work to do, but I don't like losing in the process. I don't. It's hard to say. I think certain things that you do to be successful, as far as Scottie concerned, coming into season 4, that the success in season 3 was situational. Like everybody's success is season to season and situation to situation. Some guys get off to a faster start than others. Scottie traditionally, when he's around a better team, gets off to a faster start. Now he got off to somewhat of a slower start because of the injuries, but I think he's starting to figure out how easy the game could be. Because when you could do everything, the hardest part, and I'm gonna talk about this in another video, the hardest thing is to not to be so committed to doing everything. You got to do enough just for us to win and then get ready for the next game. I think he's starting to figure that out. And it's not hard for him. Physically, he's daunting, and he's still athletic. He guarded the toughest guy defensive, like the toughest defensive assignment, and was able to be productive to the point where he almost had a triple-double. That's what I'm asking for. Guard the toughest assignment when you have to, and put up those numbers that we need so we can win. That's it. You know what I mean? Shout out to Bruce Brown. Even though he annoys the shit out of me, he came off the bench, 15 points. We needed it. He was the spark that we needed. But as far as like being prepared for a full season, that's tough as a ball player. It's tough as a ball player to make sure all your shit you did during the summer is translated during the season. It's harder because it's the first couple of games. It's going to look like it's working, but the minute it doesn't work, you're going to start scrapping that and go back to what used to work. As opposed to looking at these games and studying film, you'll gauge better what you can do against certain defenses, and you don't have to use every part of your game. You can just use what parts work in that situation in the game. But he looks dope. You know what I mean? I hope he continues to be successful. You know what I mean? But it's not going to be easy because the expectations for him are a championship, because it's tied to Masai's journey for another championship. So that's what we expecting from him. It's not going to be easy for him in no shape or form. It's not going to get any easier than it was the first season as far as him having a great team to really catapult his career off of. It's going to be a lot of him trying to carry and figure it out, but it's going to take time. Yeah, we did say that. Because we had a better team. Listen, I'm happy that a Houston fan is in here talking that shit. Listen, we did have a better team, but it got broke up. In the middle of the season, we had to trade guys. We had to figure it out. That's it. And now y'all in the moment, y'all did the same thing last year. Now, if Houston could hold it down, all right, so you get to the playoffs and see what happens. But I think you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to listen. You're gonna have to pay Fred. You're gonna have to pay Fred. You're gonna have to pay Fred. You know what I mean? So as far as we should trade, that's another thing I don't understand about Chris. We can't. My thing is, if we keep Chris Boucher, we're not going to see the version that we're seeing now, because we know this is an act of desperation. He don't want to leave, so he's going to do whatever he can. But there's no reason for a pro ball player to have 2 years of mid basketball when you're coming off of what he came off of, coming from the 72 away games. Yeah, they're going to have to pay Fred that's $43 million. Nah, Houston can't get a ring. Nah, not in the West. Houston can't come out the West. I don't think Houston can come out the West. Not the way it's set up. You know what I mean? If you remain, let's say if Houston stays the second seed, y'all going to have to go up against an 8th seed that's going to be tough. Then from there, it's all tougher. You're going to try to avoid Denver. You're going to have to avoid the Lakers. You're going to have certain teams you want to avoid. Thanks, I appreciate it. But I think Houston, they surprised me. You know what I mean? The baby your coach is doing a lot of freaky business too. But shout out to him. Shout out to Love Jones, man. It is what it is. And to the young boy, Goldie is looking real good for y'all. Appreciate it. Yeah, hit that like button. It ain't mandatory, but do what you got to do. Yeah, shout out to Neil Long. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, hey. Yeah, he is a good coach. Yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, that goes. He gets a lot more credit for me for being able to reproduce the wheel again, because I didn't think he would be able to do it in Houston. But he got some veteran players too. Yo, hold on 1 second. Yo, Brian Rizzo, what we doing over here? Are you coming to heckle me, or are you coming? What we doing? Not to take a minute out to shine the light on you again, but you started out on some sucky shit. What we doing, man? Either you want to aggravate me or you want to just be a part of the conversation, but you can't do both, man. Nah, it wasn't a joke. Nah, see, I hate when people do that. You can't be passive aggressive, disrespectful, and then be like, I was just playing. I don't play. I don't disrespect people. I don't play like that. If I disrespect you, then I ain't got no respect for you. We got a problem. If we cool, we cool. But come on, B. It's been a minute since I posted videos. My back been fucked up. I don't know when I'm coming to Toronto. It's going to probably be another year or two. I got some shit to take care of. Also, I got to get another passport. Did we make a mistake picking Darko? I mean, that type of conversation could have went for Jody too. Whoever we picked, we really aren't going to be able to see what their philosophies are because we have young players who are still trying to figure out their identity in the NBA at the same time. It's easier when you have a new coach to have veteran players. You don't want to have a young coach and young players. Either you're going to have a old coach and some young players, or a young coach and some older players. You can't have that same inexperience at the same time. And you don't want the same over experience at the same time. You need a breath of fresh air. So you need a combination of both or the opposite for the coaches. But he's a young coach. He needed more veterans. Like getting rid of Pascal and OG and Fred and like everybody going at the same time pretty much made it tough for him to put forth any type of real, definitive mode as far as his offense and his defense is concerned before we transition into having more players. It's not even about honestly, it's not about holding players accountable. You know what I mean? They don't know. All this shit is fresh, so they don't know what the NBA is like, nor do they know what your system is like. They see it firsthand on the court, what's working and what's not working. You're trying to figure out all this shit while the defense is trying to stop you. So it's really hard for a player to trust something that on the court doesn't feel right. I understand giving Darko time, but how much time are we gonna give him? See, that's another thing. We can't play with time. The NBA is a galaxy that's expanding. And there are certain teams that can travel fast enough to be in tune with it. We don't want to be that far behind. I don't know about Orlando Richardson. I just like seeing, I'm gonna be honest with you. These performances, like the one we had against Orlando, are damn near perfection, right? Like a work of art. The hardest thing is we can't bottle that up and make it a consistent thing because we have too many young players. We don't have enough vets to pull this off on a regular basis. So we're going to lose, then have this work of art, then lose some more. Losing takes away. Listen, I don't know how many of y'all played, but listen, losing sucks. That should have had you depressed. I think, honestly, as far as Darko's concerned, him not having enough veterans there to really run his offense and his defense through so the young guys can have a visual of what he wants them to do and understanding is going to be tough because these guys have to actually fail. And now that's tough. If you keep failing, now your brand is tarnished. How you see yourself is a little tainted because everybody's coming in on that high from college. You get to the NBA and lose. Now you feel like a loser. And you look for winning in other places, which tends to be outside of basketball. Yeah. Everybody kept saying Pat Delaney came in with the bad brand of D. They keep throwing him under the bus for that. Oh, it's good for. But I mean, as far as who's defense, who's the guy responsible for our defense, the guys still have to understand what they're supposed to be doing without the coaches, really having to hold your hand and walk you through it. You know when you overcommit to a double team, your man is going to be open for a three. You know if you overcommit to the corner, they're going to cut behind you. Like there's certain things that we do that we don't have to do. You know what I mean? It's just basketball. Nothing like I think the perception of basketball and how it works changed because they brought in all these numbers and then changed the rules to reflect the numbers and not what basketball is. That's why we have two seasons. We have the regular season, then we have what the playoff looks like, which is what they actually wanted. Come to find out, they wanted it to be two separate seasons. They didn't want a full 82 game situation of real basketball. They wanted 82 games of entertainment, and then the playoffs look more like traditional basketball. The only problem is people aren't catering to that, and they're not watching it as frequent as people thought because there's other things that you could watch. I tell you right now, if an NBA game is on and Landman is on, I'm watching Landman, or I'm watching something else because some of these NBA games after the first quarter aren't worth watching unless they're your team. You know what I mean? And I'm used to I like watching all the teams play, but I can't do it because it's too gimmicky. We know in the playoffs the Cavs are going to have problems. We know in the playoffs the Rockets might not go as far as expected, but they still got that kid. That kid dropped 49 in the G League, his first G League game. Shepherd looks crazy right now. I don't know if Fred's going to get his money. You know what I mean? I don't know if Fred might not get that $43 million because that kid Shepherd looks real good. And they saying he fits their timeline. We'll see. You know what I mean? We see a lot of teams in the regular season getting busy, but in the playoffs, it's going to be a different look. And for most of us, we don't want to wait till the playoffs to see what we believe is basketball. Everybody right now is getting a feel of, this entertainment shit. Not knowing and not understanding that the rules were switched so this shit could be valid. This what we watch fucking 53s and 63s, a game with 123s and 104. That shit ain't basketball. It's entertaining, but it ain't basketball. Not until we get to the playoffs, we get to see what we traditionally want to see. Oh wow. If they trade Fred now, that would be crazy. Because then that means they got to bring up Shepherd. And him dropping 49, like he's too good to be in the G League, but he's not ready for the NBA speed because he's still got to guard people. And I don't know. That $43 million, Fred might end up getting it. You know what I mean? Fred might finesse his way in. Fred is a businessman. He might finesse his way into that 43. But I don't know. If they trade him, that's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy because then they're going to need a more veteran point guard. They got to get a veteran point guard going into the playoffs, or they're going to fall short in the first round. Green looks good. I like Goldie. Green looks good, but his problem is if him and that girl break up, that might be a problem. Now Fred is doing decent. He's doing enough they're the second seed in the West. Houston is the second seed in the West, and Fred is the point. So they're gonna give Fred some of that credit, but they added a few more veterans to that roster to really clean things up. Yeah, 15, 4, and 6. That might be enough for him to get the bag. If they stay the second seed, they might, on some feel-good shit, give him that other $43 million. But Shepherd looks good. But they don't know if he's going to be a point or a combo or what. I don't know if he can guard anybody either. But the kid looks good. He could definitely shoot. Yeah. I wish we would have kept at least Pascal or at least brought in some more vets. You know what I mean? Bruce Brown, as soon as he got here, was campaigning to be a Knick. So him being on our team was always a problem for me. Because as soon as he got here, he started campaigning for Tom Thibodeau that he wanted to be a Knick. Yeah, Reed is a bit undersized. Absolutely right. But he can shoot his ass off. They're going to try and figure out a way to get him on the court. Yeah, we got to trade Bruce Brown. Yeah, the fact that when he got here, he was campaigning to leave, it was crazy. Emmanuel Quickly, that's a tough spot for me too, because he missed like 32 games, and we paid him top dollar, and now we got to wait maybe till next season to really start to get a return on that investment. And we gotta hope that he doesn't go into me first mode. Like if you a shoot first, score first point guard and you're fast, you're going to cater to your speed more, your jump shot more, your game more than everybody else's, and it might hurt us. See, that's to say that he was overpaid is tough because we don't know at this rate. We don't know how it's going to pan out as far as his worth for us. But somebody had to get that paper. You know what I mean? The Knicks are saying right now that OG is overpaid. They complaining about that contract. We all know OG ain't worth 200 and something million, but y'all gave it to him, and they gave it to him not because of the regular season. They gave it to him because of the playoffs. What he's going to do in the playoffs, he's going to stop and guard the best guy while Mikal Bridges is on the other side stopping somebody. Listen, Knicks look good. They just need a bench, which is crazy. I thought they might have added something this summer. Giving Precious Achiuwa that money is tough. You know what I mean? Now he got to produce or he's going to be out of there. If he could get them 10 points a game off the bench, he's going to get another contract, probably a 3-year deal. But they're going to need at least 25 points off that bench in the playoffs to get to the conference finals or the finals. Their starting five, to me, is the best starting five in the NBA. That's the best starting five because any night you can get work from any one of them. But OG just got to stay healthy. Like, when you think of OG and the Knicks and how much they paid for him, he already had a signature game when he dropped 40. He had a couple games when he dropped 20. He dropped 20 last game. As long as he stays healthy and shows up in the playoffs and they can get to a chip, they don't care about. See, most of these coaches really and most of these team owners don't really care about the paper. They'll pay whatever. Like they'll go over whatever the salary cap is for whoever and take the penalty. They're billionaires. So overpaying for OG, I think, listen, if it works out, then it's worth the money. Right now, I don't think we're getting as much as we should out of quickly. You know what I mean? 30 mil. Yeah, you're right. We didn't get it, but hey, it could work out and end up being something positive because somebody needed it. We had to get that to somebody. They couldn't hold on to the paper. So we're going to give it to him. And that's the point guard I wanted, somewhat of a Tyrese Maxey hybrid. I like that. I could definitely agree. We kind of did outbid ourselves. We could have got him for like 140, 125. Between 125 and 140, I think we could have talked him into that. But the 175, that's a big number. You know what I mean? But hey, like I said, we had to give that money to somebody else. You know what I mean? You talking about Bobby Portis? All right, Bruce. All right, Bruce. Who has a better starting five than the Knicks? Okay, Bobby Portis. All right, cool. 2 years, 13 million. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I like that idea. I never thought of Bobby Portis becoming a Raptor, but listen, if he could toughen guys up, cool, I'll take that. We do need the attitude. Guys are too nice. Like, motherfucker, until we're in position where we could win, and I was thinking about this last night, we got to play the villain. Until they believe that there's a dark side on this team and that guys can go into this pocket of whatever it takes to win, they're not going to believe it until they see it. Like, we can't be friends while we're trying to build this thing. It should be just fuck everybody. Until we get where we're trying to go, we could be friends after that. Absolutely. We do need some real niggas on this team. Everybody too nice. Like, until you can be nice after you define your position and you get into your position. We trying to win another one. So ain't no friends. Ain't no friends. Everybody should get that work every night. But everybody want to be friendly. Everybody think they cool. You know what I mean? Everybody into the fashion, into the girls, into everything but hooping. Nah, I agree 100%. We need guys that are serious about hooping. The Celtics don't have a better starting five than the Knicks. The Cavs don't have a better starting five than the Knicks. OKC, you might have a conversation there. Denver, if you're saying Denver, do you mean Denver with Russell in the first? Nah, not Atlanta. Atlanta is the weakest of the group. But I don't believe the Celtics, the Cavs, the Rockets have a better starting five. The Knicks have arguably. How can the Knicks? First of all, Josh Hart can do everything. He's the glue guy. I'm basing this on what I see. Yo, hold on one second. I want to isolate Bruce for a second. What are you basing your debate on? I'm looking at the Knicks. I don't see a better starting five than the Knicks. There's nothing you can say to me that's going to change that. Cat can win the MVP. They're not pushing hard enough. You already know where Jalen Brunson is. Josh Hart is the glue guy. He does all the dirty work. Mikal Bridges and OG can lock up just about anybody in the perimeter. What more could you ask for? Oh, Toronto is too woke. To a certain, I understand. Toronto is too woke. Yeah. I think the fact that too woke. Yeah. Y'all don't let shit slide. Y'all pick up the real shit and this is what it is. I think yeah. Yeah, it's the woke shit. Yeah. And it's not, are you talking about the fans or just the city as a whole? Because some of these players just don't want to hear the real shit. They want to hear you telling them how great they are or woke policies. That too. I thought you were talking about the fans. As far as being empathetic, but at some point, you got to hold guys accountable, my fucking back. At some point, you got to hold guys accountable. You know what I mean? You got to hold guys accountable. Yeah, my back is killing me. I've been having back spasms the last 4-5 days. I'm in pain. Cat ain't playing. Yo, he's averaging 26, 12, and shooting 46%. How is he not playing MVP ball? That's crazy. That's crazy. So 26 and 12 ain't enough to win it. Yo, Bruce, that's crazy. Yeah, but who else is doing that? Like, he went to a new team in 26 and 12 and 46% from three as a 7-footer. There's no answer for him. He's doing whatever he wants. How is he not going? That's crazy. That's tough. That's like saying if Scottie averaged a triple-double, he shouldn't be in the running for a massive award, whether it be MVP, most improved, just because that's what Scottie does. That's crazy. That's tough. That's tough. Like, we're in an age where they look at numbers and be like, nah, that ain't it. That's tough, yo. That's tough. How is he not? That's tough. That's tough. Like, so what can you do to be an MVP now? What, you gonna keep giving it to Joker? Like, that's crazy. Because he's won 3 in a row. Shea should have got it last year. What has anybody won? You don't listen. Being an MVP is about you being currently on a team that's winning. Joker won 1 championship. He won 1. And he won like 2 MVPs before he won his championship. Come on, B. Now we can't have these lopsided conversations. Yeah, and that's another thing. But Shea Alexander should have won MVP last year for sure. And it is crazy that an American hasn't won an MVP since 2017. That's tough. That's crazy. That's crazy. But then again, the players from overseas are hooping. And we've been talking for years about the upgraded, basketball in Toronto. It's going to be more international players, whether it be in Toronto, whether it be in Europe. These kids are taking basketball more serious. We got kids that just want to be influencers or rappers or whatever they want to be. Nobody's really focusing on basketball, not the cream of the crop talent. We just had a kid out here that was a top ball player and he got clipped. Made a diss track, like kid from Philly, and he got clipped. Was the promising ball player. Got clipped. 17 years old. He got caught up in some other shit that had nothing to do with basketball. And that's tough. You know what I mean? We got kids who aren't focused on basketball. So it's going to always be international players, I think, until an American player really steps up. But I think, to be honest with you, Cat should be in the conversation, if not win it. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. There's no way, like, we're losing kids who could be ball. Like, we're losing a lot of talent to other kids are doing other things now. Now that basketball isn't the only way out, kids who should or could be ball players rather do something else. Because you don't want to deal with the coaches. And these kids are temperamental and they soft, and you can't tell them they ain't playing right. You can't tell them to work out. Like, if your father wasn't in the league or had a college career or played ball, a lot of these kids gonna fall to the wayside in America. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Baseball, baseball used to be the number one sport in America. Baseball, I remember a time when baseball it wasn't even close that baseball was the number one sport in America. Yeah, Joel Embiid his knee is cooked. Joel Embiid is done. He's done. And listen, feel sorry for Nick though. You know what I mean? He went where he went. He made his decision. Good luck with those guys, Nick. Good luck, my nigga. Oh, my Yo, good luck. Good luck, Nick. Yeah, I had a lady at my job had two meniscus surgeries. The hardest part wasn't the surgery, it was the rehab. And her knee was never the same. You know what I mean? Like, she never the same. That's a painful situation. And they gave my extra bag. Yeah, that extension was crazy too. I'm mad at the fact that they gave what's the name a couple dollars. What the hell they give PG 13 a couple dollars for? Like, why did they give him that money? Like, I don't understand how he got that bag. Like, they gave him all that money and he became a podcaster. And he looks happier being a podcaster than a player on the 76ers, which is tough. He looks happier being a podcaster. What's good? What's good? Yeah, I took a couple of days off though. I gotta do something. I like to talk my shit and have some fun. I like the lives though. I like the lives more than I like the videos now. Even though they don't pay as much, it's fun. I'd rather fucking react to the comments than anything. This is fun though, but I am in pain. I'll get some rest. I, I rest when the pain gets too crazy. It ain't just the back pain, it's the spasms. That shit just out of nowhere. I'll be all right though. We gonna fight through it. We gonna fight through it. Yes, Philly did make a mistake when they tried to get when they kept fucking Harris. They gave him $180 million for nothing. For nothing. I would have kept Butler. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I like the lives. I think I'm gonna just try and do one of these every day. Yeah, definitely need some Tylenol. But it listen, for some reason that Tylenol ain't helping. It hurts. I had to get that 650. It helps, but it's still, when I move a certain way, it still jams up and spasms. Butler, that's what he does. Butler is known for quitting on teams when he don't get his way. You know what I mean? Remember when he was with Tibbs? There's a reason why Tibbs don't want him, because Tibbs could easily put a word in and try to do something. What's good, man? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do more lives. I planned on just politicking and getting better with the lives and then take over next season. If I could, I want to get back to the night part where we could do it at night and then also do lives during the day, because the lives are easier. Like, it's way easier than putting the video together. Yeah, definitely 3 Tylenol for sure. I'm just not trying to OD. I already did 3 of them. I don't want to get into that situation where you do like 9 Tylenols and next you know I fall out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing it. Yeah, I'm gonna get back on the post games. It's just that when I be coming in from work, I'll be tired. And the last couple of days, my back been killing me. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely take over the night. I'm gonna do that just because I'm petty. I'm gonna take over the night just because I'm petty. This is I see something going on. I ain't gonna say nothing. I've been going for almost a year, low key. But yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take back the night slot. That looked like an easy one right there. That looked like a home run. It's set up for me to win. The night looked real good. It's set up real nice, like I said it would be. I told you I was going. I'm gonna let it build up because I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take over the night just for the fun of it. But I like the day shit too. This is when I'm the most energetic. But coming from work, my back be killing me. Niggas just be old. Yeah, I need y'all too. I need y'all too. I've been cruising around, peeping out what's going on that night after the games. I'm like, oh man, I got to get back in good with YouTube so I get this, so I get my situation back. Yeah, I'm gonna take it back. I'm definitely gonna take back the nights for sure. And then I'm gonna take over the day, and then I'm gonna put everybody in the headlock. They're gonna have to figure out what they gonna do because I just want it all at this point, man. They jammed me up for a full year. So I got to get back to it, have some fun. Oh, true indeed. That's what I was talking about earlier. Like the group that we had that was winning the championships, they deserved all of that because they won. These young dudes need the truth. This new group of guys, we got to tell them the truth. Listen. When it's time to fix it, you got to fix it. All right, I'm Advil for sure. Advil for sure. Tylenol for the win though, but Advil for sure. I might have to get some Advil today. Oh, I was talking about the Knicks earlier. This guy was Bruce. This guy Bruce was asking me, why do I think the Knicks have the best starting five in the NBA? I mean, it's just you're just looking at it. There's no starting five built like that. Every position is a polished one with a veteran in it, and it's going to be hard to deal with them come the playoffs because the game is going to be slower. It's going to come down to that Knick bench, though. That's what I think. Oh, no, I was serious before. Hold on. What you mean? Nah, they jammed me up. The whole year I was jammed up. I got jammed up on YouTube. I got jammed up on fucking Spotify. I got jammed up, so I was like, I got to get back in YouTube's good graces, and everything worked out. We back, you know what I mean? Me, Google, and YouTube, we back on. We got a good relationship now. I want to keep that. Shit was rocky. Shit was tough. Yeah, but me and the homie was going back and forth. He don't think Cat should be in the MVP conversation, or is playing MVP basketball. I had to disagree with that. Hey, a lot of people wanted Trump back in office, man. We need somebody to clean this up. So if he gonna clean it up, clean it up. You know what I mean? I didn't care who was gonna win. Just clean it up. Clean up the shit that need to be cleaned up. Figure the rest of that shit out. Because you only got 4 years, and then we're gonna have somebody else doing they 1-2 step. I gotta get this money while Trump is in office. Because I know the next group is gonna be like, they're gonna definitely put some work in to clean up or do some shit with social media. Yeah, he's clean. Yeah. Clean it all up. Shit, I was watching people go crazy because they thought TikTok was gone. I was like, oh shit, these niggas is crying. Niggas was losing a lot of paper. A lot of paper. I'm glad he brought that back for at least for as long as they could until they figure it out. But you know how the game go. They made the block hot, so somebody gonna move them out the way to get that spot. That's what they did with online poker. That's what they did with the betting. Like all this shit been around. What they do is they jam you up and then they put their shit on the block. That's all it is. Still drug dealer shit. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. It's still drug dealer shit. Still, that's why you just leave them niggas alone. They hustling. Leave the hustlers alone. They hustling heavy. When you could put $1 billion, $1 trillion joint out of business so you could get the block, it's crazy. I hope what you call it though. I hope he can unify and make it easy so we can just cross the border easier without a passport. That's what I want. If I can get into Canada with just my ID, I'm over there tomorrow. I'm on my way, but I gotta get a passport. I gotta go get all this extra shit done. That's the only thing really holding me up is the passport. I mean, let's get back and forth with just our IDs. Nah, you not. I'm sorry, homie. You ain't keeping us out. Once we get over there and we see that it's different, listen. I ain't keep playing. I tell you right now, if it's better and it's nicer, we on our way. I'm more about yeah. Let's slide over there and see what's going on. But if we get over there with just our IDs, that will help. At least a New York ID. I don't want to speak for the other states. They might need that. But if you're in New York, it's pretty much connected. Niagara Falls. At least let us get, you know what I mean? At least let us get that to get by. Let us slide through, you know what I mean? We come through because we don't want to go through Detroit and go through all that or go through Boston through the back roads. Now we want to, yeah, I can manage the cold. I'm a New Yorker. It's cold. I can deal with the cold. It's freezing right now. But if my back start acting up, I'm outside. I gotta go. I gotta go. But yeah. Now I left New York a couple years ago, actually. Like 2 years ago, I left. I'm in PA now. The snow is crazy. The weather, it get a little colder. The cold out here is a little different. That chill is different. I don't know where that cold is coming from, but it ain't like New York where we got the buildings flowing. This PA cold is different. See, that's fire. See, Buffalo. Let us in. Just you know what I mean. Just give New York State the pass, so we could just come through just with our IDs, and we good. I'll figure it out. I'll renew my whole New York ID. Oh shit. Yeah, that's a crazy number. What's up? What's good? I think this is a weird year for Emmanuel quickly as far as injury. I don't think he's ever really been this injured before. It's coming at the worst time right after he got his money. So now he looks like a liability of some sort. I think he's gonna be fine though. I just don't want him to overcompensate because I see something real nice with this team. I don't want him being a point guard to look out for self and then it jams up, the progress that we're making. Do I think the Raptors get the first top 4 pick? I don't. I mean, if we do, it's who are we gonna get? Because at the end of the day, we still got work to do. Like that's the one thing I had to detach myself from. We can't keep getting players and not have anything to use them and plug them into. You know what I mean? We have to have a way to utilize their abilities. Because if we keep getting these assets and then we can't use them, it's better off not getting them. Because at some point we got to start winning. See, that's all right. This is now. I'm gonna be honest with y'all with the Cooper flag. I'm gonna tell y'all right now because I've been dying to have this conversation about Cooper flag. I don't believe he can help us. I don't believe. Oh, appreciate the donation. But I don't believe Cooper Flag can help us. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he's gonna help us. Like Cooper Flag, his game, the way it's gonna transition in the NBA, he's gonna need more possessions. He's gonna need at least 21 touches because he's gonna go into more of a perimeter game. He's not going coast to coast to dunk on people and all that. He's gonna use a fundamentally sound perimeter game. That's the family he comes from. His family is a bunch of low post players. So he's gonna go into what they traditionally do, which is good footwork, playing close to the basket. He's gonna need more touches, and we're not trying to. You think he's gonna come and we're gonna give him 20? Scottie don't even get 20 touches. RJ don't get 20 touches. He's gonna need 20 touches to be effective. We're not giving that up. Exactly. He's not saving anybody. I don't think any of these kids can save anybody. They need to come to an already structured situation to make use of what they have. That's how Scottie was successful. We already had something defined with Nick Nurse and Pascal, OG, Fred. We had something already established that utilize his ability. Nah, it's going to be tough for Cooper Flag. He's going to need a lot of possessions, and he's going to love getting those possessions. We're not sacrificing 18 possessions for no rookie. 21%. Nah, he's not here. Not here. I think we need to add a few more veterans. If we could get an extra kid, cool. But I think we need to look into veterans. A few more veterans in some key spots. That's it. We definitely gonna need somebody that's gonna rebound in a shot blocker, because we can't keep having Scottie do it. Scottie can't be constantly the help. You know what I mean? Like that's where his injuries. He's always getting injured trying to help somebody else defensively. Nah, if he can just guard his man, I don't think he's going. That'll save Scottie from a lot of injuries. Yeah, see, but is that going to be all right with everybody else? This kid getting all them shots, and they're going to be guarding him differently. So we're gonna have to wait for him to develop. So I listen. If we get him, we get him. I'm cool with it. But I don't think he's gonna be. I don't want that fucking label on him of being a savior. Like I don't think he's. I think the only thing that's gonna save us is if we get back to hooping and wanting to win games. We got to take that shit personal. You know what I mean? I hate losing. I hate losing. I think guys are accepting it and not taking it personal, because these are teams that we could beat. We should have more wins than 11. What I said earlier about Chris Boucher was if we lose him, it's understandable, right? Because the gentleman just was asking me about Chris Boucher. Um, if we lose Chris Boucher, cool. If we keep him at a decent price, cool too. But we just got to wrap our mind around the fact that we're not going to get this version of Chris Boucher anymore once we give him the money. Because this is a situational thing. He's in fight or flight. He don't want to be traded, so he's doing everything he can to stay around. This is stuff that we were expecting 2 years ago. When does it take a pro player to develop certain traits in fucking 730 days? Like, we were waiting for this years ago, and it was possible. True. I don't know too much about the Ace kid, but I did watch Cooper Flag a few times, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, I also watched Danny Furry and Christian Laettner. I can't compare him to them because I don't know, they had something there. There was something, I don't know, they had that it factor. He can play, and they're trying to force so much shit on this kid. Maybe if he stayed another year, cool. You might be able to label him something. He might need a national championship or a Naismith award to really take him over the top. But right now, I just don't see him, being a savior like that. But he's going to need possessions. He's going to need a lot of possessions. And are we going to get that shit up for him? All right, I'm going to have to look up Ace. I'm definitely going to have to look. Is he more athletic? All right, as a young. Oh wow, damn, that's a big compliment. Yeah, that's a big that Tracy McGrady one is that's a big one. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I never heard of Tracy McGrady. I was living in Florida those years. I didn't hear anything about a Tracy McGrady at all. I heard about Vince Carter. I heard about Vince. I didn't hear about Tracy McGrady at all. Mind you, they were saying he was the number one player in the country. I just didn't hear. I didn't hear nothing about him. Nobody was talking about him in the streets, and nobody was really talking about him as a high school baller. And I was in a space where high school basketball was big just as much as football. Okay, he's most athletic in the draft at 6'10". That's crazy. I'm gonna have to look at the highlights. Definitely gonna have to check him out. I've been trying to stay away from college because it's just these kids are on one team this week. Next week they in the portal, and everybody getting paid. I didn't even know with the way they're getting paid, you get two bags. If you got a brand deal, if if you got a brand deal, if you get an NIL deal, that's separate from the bag that you get from the team. That's just you giving these kids $200,000-$300,000 a year to play college. They ain't worrying about hooping like they should be. They trying to hang. It's going to be hard to tell. Like what any player is going to be for us. I see there's a debate about the young boys in the chat. That's crazy. There's no defense in the NBA anyway. At 6'10", he could do whatever. You know what I mean? At 6'10", if you could score and be athletic at 6'10", you don't really have a defensive assignment in the NBA. Like the guards have to play real defense, and the other like the 2 and the 3. But as far as big men, you really ain't got to guard nobody. There's not too many good 4s. There's not too many good 5s in the NBA. There's a few, but I think he can get away with it. Yeah, Scottie. Yeah, but like Four said, it's hard to say. It's hard to say once they get to the league what they're going to turn out to be. It all turn like all these coaches are trying jockey in for positioning for that next spot as far as being some type of tactician or strategist. A lot of things that players do will be swept under the rug. I listen. I would love that too. I would love for somebody to tell him just play power forward. That would be dope. Somebody got to tell him. Like he has the advantage. You got the jump hook. You got that fadeaway in the perimeter. Who can really stop him from getting 6 points a quarter, which is which is 24 points a game, and still get us 12 rebounds and still get us 6 or 7 assists. Like he don't have to average 30 or look like everybody else putting up his numbers. The game should be a lot easier for him. He should be at the 4. And he should be a point forward. Hey, what's going on, Marcia? How you been? Now I've been out of commission. My back been killing me. We'll be back up normal. We'll be back to normal soon. Uh, I'm giving him a little bit more time, but not a lot. As far as what I think about Darko, because right now I think he wants to prove that he's a strategist and that he's smart. The smartest thing he could do is just win. And it being his first opportunity, homie just want to prove that he knows so much about the game. Just win, and they'll figure out the rest of that shit later. How smart you are. I hope we not. I don't want to say we're tanking. I don't want to say we're tanking. Thank you. You know what? One thing that some of us might be forgetting, yo, the NBA game is a lot easier than college. Like they're seeing 1-3-1s, boxing ones, man to man. Then they switch into a press. Then they switch into a half court trap, and then they going into a full court trap. Like they're not going to see all those different complexions of defense. It's just going to be that one-on-one matchup. A lot of these guys might shine. It's hard to say though. Like it's definitely hard to say. At some point, it's going to get to the point where people want to see if you can help that team that you own win. Because I think people are like, as fans, we're going to start looking at these numbers and be like, all right, cool, but you ain't winning. You know what I mean? Like it's getting to that conversation where winning is going to trump everything. And I can't wait till it gets there. Because in the playoffs, it's all about winning. I thought he would, honestly, Jamal Shed, I thought he would have a tougher time than everybody else as far as the rookies are concerned because he's a smaller player and he was National Defensive Player of the Year. You know what I mean? I felt like he would have that speed of guarding all these point guards. I kind of doubted that he'd be able to catch on, but he's caught on real well. Only problem is when you play defense like that, you really don't have a lot of energy offensively. Like he's not going. If he's playing defense the way he plays defense, he's not going to have the legs to knock down that shot in the third and fourth quarter. But the defense is stellar. I like the fact that he's adapting to how fast these point guards are. Yo, four. I don't think we ever gonna see a young kid want to be a franchise player anymore. They gonna want the money, but they not gonna want that responsibility. You know what I mean? Nobody, they don't understand what that means. They think it's just about the money. You being a franchise player, you're taking on the responsibility of that team's success, and you're to blame, and your brand is to blame when they lose. I think these kids just want the good. They really don't want the bad when it comes. I definitely agree. The effort was looking crazy for a minute. It's the reason why the effort might be off. Niggas ain't taking it personal. Like they, it's not as important as it used to be. Like we had an era where guys hated to lose and didn't want to lose to each other. To now they're accepting the losses. They shaking hands. They looking for each other at the games instead of just being frustrated and walking off. Like I missed that Detroit walk off when they did it to Chicago. I need to see more of that. It was petty, but shit, if you compete and then you lose, sometimes you're gonna do some petty shit. We don't see a lot of people taking it personal when they lose. Yes, yes, absolutely right. And no amount of money can hide you from the fact that you're losing and you're not successful when you're being paid to be successful. Hey, I agree. The East isn't as good as it's being pushed, but if we can't take advantage of these opportunities, then it says a little bit more about us than about the situation. You know what I mean? It's At some point, we got to win. Exactly. Yeah, they getting handed bags, ridiculous bags. Retire your family bags. Like 200 million is crazy to be a ball player. I remember a time when dudes had to work. Like you would see NBA ball players in the 80s still doing some other shit, having a program or setting up for their retirement. They ain't have money like that where they could just chill for the rest of their life or think about going into a podcast. Imagine if they let them dudes from the 80s or the guys from the 70s or the 90s podcast when they retired. It'd have been crazy. These luxuries weren't afforded to a lot of generations. And it leads to guys not being as hungry. Yes, it is more of a fraternity. Absolutely right. Yeah. Yo, listen, there was no easy, like they will let you go back in the day. Now you got your contract secured. The union is stronger. The owners don't really care because they're getting paid a ridiculous amount of money. They getting theirs off the top. So it's like, yeah, you getting bags averaging 10, 5, and 3. Absolutely right. A ridiculous bag. Yeah, absolutely right. I agree. I agree. I think once LeBron leaves, I'm hearing it's a rumor, it's alleged. I'm gonna say alleged. There's gonna be a lockout. As soon as LeBron leaves, there's an alleged lockout planned, and they're gonna renegotiate. And I wouldn't be surprised if they start proposing more football-like contracts. You know what I mean? Just to get the competitive fervor back into the game. Guys aren't really competing; they're just going through the motions. I was saying this all last year. Guys are looking like they like the McDonald's worker that just show up uniform, you know, looking like they just got off of work to work again, you know what I mean, hat to the back, not really taking it serious, coming in to do their time and go home as opposed to really making an impact. Yeah, guys aren't clocking in like they should. You would expect for $200 million that they will work harder than the average person, and they don't. And you only work, and it's a part-time job. Mind you, you're getting paid $200 million for a part-time job. One of the greatest part-time jobs in the world. I heard the NBA is starting a league overseas too. Overseas also. Everybody trying to tap into that market for whatever reason. Yes. They're getting paid more to do less. Absolutely right. And the reality is the owners are making so much money and this is their cut. Remember, basketball is like a small community. They're getting paid hundreds of billions of dollars. And now you get to break it down amongst X amount of employees altogether. You lucky in the NBA, you might have maybe 2,000 employees in the NBA, breaking down hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and everybody getting paid right. Yeah, it's more of a sales job than anything also. So they getting paid. Also one thing that y'all also got to remember: a lot of these older players that came before them, they be telling them like these coaches don't care about you, these organizations don't care about you, so get as much as you can. And they've been teaching that for the last 30 years, whether it be college or the NBA. And this is where we are. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. They're part. Listen, I can't even be upset for these kids coming into the game the way it is because they're taught to monetize their abilities. But it's the art form of basketball is definitely suffering. I don't even think you should get paid if you lose. I think if you lose, you shouldn't get paid. Every time you lose a game, You don't get paid for that game. I think it should be a deduction for losses. And the referees should have to do a post game interview. And the NBA is they always want to donate money to foundations. All right, send that money that the players don't make off of their losses to a foundation. And Gilbert Arenas, he pulled out a conversation that I heard about years ago, but I didn't believe it. Yo, a lot of these contracts we see these kids getting, they getting a lot of that backdoor money. They not really getting it through the contract. They getting money somewhere else. They getting paid off somewhere else. That's why they don't mind giving them $200-300 million, because you're not really getting it like the way they say they're getting it. It's crazy. I knew it was funny with the contracts, but yeah, they're giving guys opportunities in other spaces to make up the difference because they really, exactly. But the money is going into that so that they can stream. We should, definitely be reimbursed. Yeah, exactly. But then again, you might have, you might have fans going into the game hoping that the team loses shit if they can get their money back. All right, what do I feel about the NBA investigating three-point shooting game? Why would they investigate something that they created? Like, that was the purpose of the three-point line in the first place. To make the game faster, put up more points, to bring in more money. Yo, I don't know if y'all remember, the three-point line was under the key at one point. That shit was crazy. The original three-point line was under the key. That's how Mike got a lot of his points. Like, y'all want to know how Mike was putting up 30? He was shooting from 3, and the shit was like 16 feet jump shots. And then they kept changing. I don't know. I don't know about the investigation into the three-point line. I don't know. I didn't know that there was one. I know there should be a cap. There should be a cap. You know what I mean? I think you should be able to say you can shoot X amount of threes, and after that, those are just 2-point shots. Somebody had proposed that. I thought that was what you call it. I thought that was funny. Yo, in college, if you go back to the old North Carolina games, you'll see at North Carolina, there was a three-point line that was below the key. He was raking up buckets from that point. Then a year later, they extended it. Yep, they should bring back hand checking. They should bring back hand checking for sure. They should bring back defense. They should just bring back defense. Let the defender defend. And if these guys are as good as you say they are, they should still be able to score. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks they're some type of great player. That's because nobody's playing defense. Now, if they implement defense, let's see. Because when they play defense on some of these guys in college is the last place they're going to see real defense. They were averaging 8 points, 12 points, 16 points. And you're like, yo, how is a lottery pick averaging 12 points, 16 points a game? Because that's who they really are up against defense. Yeah, it is unreal how defense became a lesser part of the game. Honestly, I think viewership is mostly down because we're watching the games in different ways now. Like we don't have the attention span to sit there for 2 hours. You know what I mean? We'll watch highlights, or we'll listen to the game on the radio, or we'll do something else. Like, we don't want to really sit there and watch a game, and then there's another game, and then you sat down for 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours. Like, nobody really wants to do that anymore because there's other shit to do. And yeah, college ball is it's definitely better. But I remember, in the 80s, and it was always better for a while up until Mike came. Once Mike came to the NBA, college basketball wasn't good. Wasn't as good as the NBA. But now it's starting to flourish again. because like I said, they're paying them, and now they have a reason to play. But then the greater players aren't going to really go into the league because they're not going to, you know, really care too much about that like they used to. In some cases, I'd rather watch the highlights, depending on the game. You know what I mean? And then what a lot of people are starting to realize that when you get the NBA package, they block out some games. So if they're playing against a team in your region, they might block that game out. And then you got to find, like, you got to watch the game on regular television if you can, you know what I mean, if you feel like doing that. But sometimes you just want to watch it from the app. Yeah, the three-point shooting game isn't exciting. It isn't. You know what I mean? It has its place. You know what I mean? And that's what, and the fact that they, you know what? The fact that they did away with the three-point shot, they did away with the perimeter shooting and the perimeter game and gave all that attention to three-point shooting, that's what bothered everybody. Because it's like now there's no real leverage. It's just either you're going to the basket or you're shooting from three. And then they went and created these numbers to justify what they planned on doing. So it's like it's tougher. You know what I mean? It's tougher for people to watch because now you got these different arguments, and we all know what basketball looks like. But the arguments are that according to the analytics, this is what it's supposed to be. And now you see guys, instead of when they're on a fast break filling the lane, they're fading to the three, which is the dumbest shit in the world. Oh, dunks worth three would be crazy. Yeah, if you dunk on somebody, yeah, that shit should be worth three. If you John Morant and you dunk on Wemby, that's just, you know what I mean? You should get three for that. That's what I'm. Yeah, a dunk on somebody should be three. That would be dope. Yo, that would be dope if you make the dunks three. That would actually be dope. Yep, Boston did figure out a formula. Worth five for Wemby. Yeah, Boston figured out a formula. If they shoot way more threes than you, it's going to even itself out 37%, but they're going to have more points than you, and you're not going to want to be out of your comfort zone because if you're shooting 53s, that means your superstars aren't getting the ball. That's another thing I understood. Most of these superstars don't take a lot of threes unless they're like Steph or Dame or somebody like that. Some of these teams don't have superstars that shoot a lot of threes. So in order for them to compete, you would have to step away from the game where you're focusing on your star player. Yeah, it's definitely hard to watch. And the thing that bothered me most about Boston is they know how to play traditional basketball. Like they know how to hoop. Like Brad Stevens coached, like put so much into them to make them productive. Now when you settle for threes, it's like, all right, now you're taking the sucker way out. You know what I mean? Now we know y'all know how to hoop the right way, but now you okay. Now you're trying to hit home runs all game. Okay, we get you. We get you. We see what y'all trying. That's why nobody really respects that championship. You could they could win it. They could win another one. We still not gonna care because they didn't do it the way that they built up that team. If they do it the way Brad Stevens taught them how to do it and did it with that brand, we would respect it more. What do you mean by what's your NBA player comparisons? What do you mean by that? Hey Capri, what do you mean by what's that? Yep, the shootout, definitely. They fought the Celtics forced a shootout, and you're stepping away from playing your star player. Who did I play like? Fuck. Um as a New York point guard, just it's hard. Let me see. At my best case scenario, I can't even say Spud because he jumped higher. Probably What's homie that played for oh man. Oh man. Shit. What's my man name? He was a 5'7" guard. He used to play for the Nuggets. Oh fuck, I forgot his name. I forgot his name. Oh, I forgot his name. It's right on the tip. It's right on the tip of my tongue. But it's a shorter player that can shoot a little bit. But I can shoot and pass. I had to handle it. It was just I ain't win the genetic lottery. If I win the genetic lottery, it's a lot of slow singing and flower bringing. But it's but so much you could do at 5'7", 5'6" on 5'6", 5'7" on a good day. You know what I mean? Nah, not Muggsy. Nah, Muggsy was better defensively. He was more defensive. Boykins. Exactly, Boykins. Or Keith Jennings type that could shoot a little bit. Nah, Michael Adams was a way better scorer. That motherfucker that jump shot was crazy. Okay. Ingram is dope. You talking about Brandon Ingram from the Pelicans? Yeah, that's a fire. That's a fire game to have. That's a fire game to have. Yeah, that Brandon Ingram. Yeah, that's a dope game to have. That's a dope. I like his game. I like the fact that he punched Chris Paul in the face too. Nah, I wasn't a Nick Van Exel type. Nah, I wasn't a Nick Van Exel type. Top 5 all time. I got Mike at number 1. Got Kareem. No. I think Hakeem Olajuwon is better than Kareem. I hate to go up against New York, but I'm gonna go with Mike, Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm definitely gonna go Bird. I respect LeBron. He's dope. Great career. I can't put him ahead of Bird though. Bird was, if he wanted to shoot more threes, Bird would have. That back injury was crazy. And he got it off like putting down like the cement for his moms in the summer. That's what fucked his back up. I would go Magic. I would go Mike, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bird, definitely Magic. And my other guy, let me see. Damn, that's tough. It would have to be a dope-ass power forward. Fuck. Maybe a KG or a Tim Duncan. They kind of wanted, they kind of, similar to me. That'll be it. Yeah, Bird is better than Bron. But it's tough to say. It's tough to say that like to put anybody ahead of Bron because the nigga got 40,000 points and 10,000 rebounds and over 10,000 assists. That shit is tough. Shaq ain't on the list. Shaq is not on the list. Shaq is probably like number 15 on the list. Because they were like, if you take away Shaq's size, would Shaq be we could always argue a lot of those guys had so many more levels to their skill sets than Shaq did. Shaq was just bigger than everybody else. Nah, I can't. Because Steph, we talking about like Steph is lacking that he's not an animal. He's not a villain. He's never been the bad guy. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever hated Steph. Everybody I talked about, somebody hated them niggas. Somebody hated Mike, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bird, Magic, and Tim or KG. Either one of them. Like, they were all hated on. And they all played the villain. They all had no problem being the bad guy. I don't think we're ever going to find the next Shaq. Reggie Miller was good. His sister was better. Isaiah Thomas was good. He can't make the top 5 though. Yeah, Steph is like a cheat code. And I didn't want to say this because I don't think people would get what I'm about to say. But I knew somebody. And they didn't have a jump shot. They didn't necessarily have a dope jump shot, but they knew where to put the ball in the sky for it to drop down into the basket. Every time. Like, no jump shot, but can give you 30 because he knew where to put it in the sky. When I look at Steph, of course he can shoot, but I think he figured something out. Like, he knows where to put the ball as far as the peak of the arch to have it drop straight in the basket. I swear to you. I've seen people do this, and when I watch him, it's like, the nigga cheating. He's definitely cheating. He's definitely cheating. He figured something out for sure. Oh yeah, AI would kill Steph, but Steph would definitely get that shot off against him though. All right, Jordan, Steph, Kobe, LeBron. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. The only reason why I take Kobe off is because he didn't have his own identity in the beginning. He was trying to follow Mike. I hated that. And the Mike that everybody followed, this is another thing. The Mike that everybody was following was not Air Jordan. And I'm glad Gilbert Arenas talked about that. It wasn't the Air Jordan nigga that we was watching from 87 to 88. It was the championship Mike. That Air Jordan nigga couldn't nobody touch. When he was Air Jordan, nobody could fuck with him. Nobody. Nobody could fuck with that version of Michael Jordan. But when you're saying the latter years, yeah, you could bring that in. But I hated that Kobe tried to be like Mike instead of just being himself. I think we would have loved him a lot sooner, and it would have been easier for him to be in these conversations. And that's even with us comparing LeBron. Like when they compare LeBron to Mike, they comparing him to championship Mike. Not that hectic motherfucker that was giving the Celtics 50 and 60. Because everybody talk about the Celtics were physical. The Celtics, they knew how to stop them. He was still getting 61 and 59 against the Celtics, and they were beating them up. That's one thing I don't think LeBron can deal with. I don't think any of these players could deal with getting hit like that and no foul being called. And then he figured out a way to still get the and ones. So it forced them to make the call. These guys now, they just want the call off of reputation. Michael Jordan made you, it got to the point where they're going to call a foul because he's going to still make the basket anyway. And it's exciting to get an and one. They always want to call an and one. Everybody knows that referees in the NBA love calling and ones. He figured everything out. Michael Jordan is a cheat code. Like they got to really, you want to talk about an investigation? Figure out how he figured out basketball. Figure out how he figured out basketball. That's an incredible, like you really dig deep. This motherfucker had a cheat code. You can't drink. He smoked cigars before games and still dropped 40. He ate burgers. He ate steaks. Everything you're not supposed to do, he was doing. And he still gave you 30. Nah, you gotta know some shit. And he led us into the light by saying 8 points a quarter is 32 points. If you get 8 points a quarter, that's 32. Ironically, that was his average. Dennis Rodman is incredible. Incredible. He was blessed with a growth spurt too, but he's incredible. Shout out to Rodman was incredible. Yep, he was. Yep, Michael Jordan was a freak of nature, but he had a cheat code too. That nigga figured some shit out. At North Carolina, he had a cheat code because when he came into the NBA, they couldn't stop him. Nobody has been that unstoppable. I think Len Bias, if the Celtics would have got Len Bias, he would have been unstoppable too. But Mike, for a two guard, we're talking about a 6'6" guard to be able to do what he was doing from the gate, from finish to end. You got to have a cheat code to come back and then play again and then average 20 at 30-something years old. Like, I don't know, man. He retired twice, came back. It's not even about smarter. The motherfucker had a cheat code. I'm going to die saying that. I'm going to go to my grave knowing that Michael Jordan had a cheat code. There is no way you could do what he was doing and not have a cheat code. Because everybody else is having such a difficult time. And all he told dudes, yo, listen, 6 points a quarter, 7 points a quarter is 28 a game. He told Melo that this nigga led the league in scoring. It was just that easy. Yeah, Mike Vert on the jumper was crazy. Yes, sir. I respect LeBron James' longevity, but I don't, man, listen, Mike had a cheat code. There's no way that you could do all this shit that you was doing, play 3 rounds of golf. Do y'all understand how draining 3 rounds of golf is? The most mentally draining game in the world You play 3 rounds, 54 holes, and then go play a full game of basketball and be the Michael Jordan we know you could. That is, man, listen. That is crazy. You have to know something. There is no way that motherfucker cheated, man. It has to. And they saying if Mike would play right now, he wouldn't average 40 or 50. Shit me. Yes, he would. You couldn't touch him back then. Now that 24-year-old, all right, Michael with the gold chains and the Caesar, nah, these ain't fucking with Mike. Mike was different. My era, we just always look for cheat codes because they introduced that shit in Mario Brothers. We've been looking for cheat codes ever since. And then for Mike to have one, you gotta have one. Like he didn't work half as hard as Kobe did. Like Kobe worked his whole career to catch a guy who was playing basketball for the fuck. He was making $40 million a year doing commercials in between playing. And you already know what he was doing in these streets. I ain't gonna put the man business out there, but he was putting it. Man, listen, Mike was putting in that work. Don't you thought Eddie? You think Eddie Murphy got a track record knocking these chicks down and running around these streets? Mike was the man. You gotta. Nah, Mike ain't had none of those. Mike, I don't know about that. Yeah, you can't teach because they took it personal. Yeah, they took the game personal. That's one thing that people don't do anymore. They don't want to take things personal. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to take that personal because that's your brand. That's your image. Just like with the turnovers, when we were having turnovers in the middle of the season or in the beginning up to now, we had so many turnovers. That's on your brand. You look like a liability. If you commit 2 to 3 turnovers a game in college, you don't even make it to the league. But when you get to the league, you're committing 2.5 turnovers, 3 turnovers. You're a liability. That's your brand. And that will get you in a space where, listen, you can't play in the NBA no more. You got to prove that you can get 2 to 1, especially if you're a guard. It got to be 2 assists to every turnover or 3 to 1. That's what they really want. But if you had like 1 assist to every 2.5 turn, you can't even be in the league. You would have never got here. You know what I mean? And it's important that guys understand that you got to take all this shit personal because it's your brand on the line. It's your name. If you think you can half-ass it and still make $100 million, I think that's where the NBA is going to start making these mistakes. You're sorely mistaken. You can have one good season, they give you 100. You can't do that anymore. You have to prove to be a consistent, productive person. That's what we got to go through at every job to get our hours. That's why I was so against guys just being given starting opportunities. You can't just start a guy just because. They got to actually, earn that right. You know what I mean? You don't deserve to start. You shouldn't start. You should come off the bench. I can't start you just because the situation says I should or because you're entitled. You have to be the best option, and you have to be able to hold that down. Yeah, he definitely had battles with Shawn Kemp. Definitely. Shawn Kemp was a beast too. Yep, that would definitely deter tanking. Definitely. It shouldn't be an option. At some point, these coaches got to coach and these players got to want to win more than they get paid. Because you're going to get paid at some point. You're going to get used to being rich, but you never get used to being a loser. Like that shit don't wash off. Like niggas will look at you like a bum forever. Like right now, even if you pay, let's say you make $200 million. If you're a loser, nigga, you're a nobody. I don't care how much money you got. Niggas don't care. There's a lot of guys that disappeared and popped up on these podcasts that we forgot about because they were losers. That's the truth. We only respect the winners and the people who cared about winning. That's why we care about KG. Even Gilbert Arenas, we care about him to a certain extent because he cared about being as good as he was and he took it personal. A lot of these dudes, you got to take it personal. Yep. Yeah, dudes, yeah, men look like men. They ain't look like supermodels. Niggas ain't, you know what I mean? You had grown man strength. You look like you look like OJ. You know what I mean? If you was an athlete, you look like fucking James Earl Jones. You know what I mean? Now these guys, they look like swimsuit models. Everybody look like they want to be fucking Ralph Lauren models. At some point, if you're gonna have muscles, you're gonna have to put that work in. We're expecting you to play stronger. You got the muscles for a reason. These dudes don't want to be touched. You can't bump them. You can't talk crazy to them. You can't do nothing. Yeah, we don't. Hey, they've been listen, but this was the dream of the NBA. All those families that held those teams together for all those years. You know what I mean? Refinancing and going broke, and then this was the dream to get to this point where they can make this ridiculous amount of money, and they salute to them. But if you want a real conversation about basketball, we're not seeing basketball. It's like the conversation about basketball is bigger than the game, and these players are sneaking through, giving half-ass work. Man, listen, I listen. We all got benched when our head wasn't in the game. If the coach look at us and we ain't doing what we supposed to do and we half-assing it, yep, come sit next to me. Come on, sit down. Yes, there would be a fear of you losing playing time. Yeah, yeah. That there's no you could tell guys are playing with no fear of losing anything. They know they're gonna start tomorrow. They know ain't nobody gonna touch the bag. They know they become so complacent and comfortable with the fact that they got their situation comfortable. They don't want to work anymore. It's like I could have a bad game or I could have a bad 3 games because there's nobody on this team that could take my spot. Yeah, you had to earn to be a starter. You had to. Had to. And God, listen, my biggest thing, I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day, hooping. I'm killing shit. Just imagine I'm killing shit. And then somebody 6'3" comes who plays my position and does the same thing I do. Who you think gonna play? Him. Oh, the 6'3" dude could do everything you could do. Shorty, you coming off the bench. I'ma holler at you. Listen, we love you. Listen, we love you. But this dude does the same things you do. Like, there's no fear of finding someone who can do what you could do it faster, do it better, and it's more passionate about it. At the NBA level, that's such a high level, it's hard to find, you know what I mean, those type of guys to be ready to deal with the business and play. Everybody ain't ready for that. So when you got those very few employees, that's why teams only got 15 players. They might be the only 15 that can deal with what's going on in that organization. But there's always going to be better options. You know what I mean? But it's hard to find it. But if you can find somebody who's better than them, you still can't put them in because you gave that guy so much money. That's another thing in the NBA. You might have paid this dude $150 million, and the guy that's making $6 million a year might be better, but you could never play him because of your commitment financially. Absolutely right. Coaches aren't paid to coach anymore. In some cases, they're paid to babysit, and because they need a coach on the team just because to make it solidified. A lot of times, these guys, they're uncoachable. And a lot of your favorite superstars that are on podcasts talking that brother love shit and nonviolence, they were uncoachable. You know what's crazy? Like they always say, some of the worst children become the best adults. And some of us did a lot of shit as kids and we became better people as we got older. It stands true in the NBA. A lot of these guys were assholes as players, and now they got podcasts teaching the next generation about basketball. The irony of that shit. The irony of it, none of these players that have podcasts were coachable. They all had attitudes. They all put themselves ahead of their programs. They all had their thing, and they were uncoachable. That's why I kind of want the coaches' take on what they're saying. Let's see how the coaches feel about you. But they want to teach the kids about, sportsmanship and there's no heart in the game. And nah, some of y'all players did some shit too. You can't walk away from, you know what I mean, what you did. Exactly. They were divas too. They had their way of doing shit, and that started the culture of players not being able to be managed or coached. It was a whole generation of guys that coaches couldn't deal with. It wasn't just like one or two guys. It was one specific generation. Then every generation after that became more difficult and more entitled. And we all know the generation that came in, the draft class that came in, that was the beginning of where we are now. And if you want me to say it, I'll say it. You know what I mean? If you want me to say what draft class, and they consider it one of the best draft, 96. 96. The 96 draft class was the beginning of what we see today. A lot of those players weren't coachable. And the players that came back, even, I wouldn't say 84. I wouldn't say 84. Those players were still coachable. But you had to be a man's man. You had to be a man's man to coach some of those players. You didn't have to, they weren't entitled. They just respected real men. Exactly. I said 96, but 96 to 98, yeah. Yeah. That was the beginning of players becoming, and even Mike, they saw it all coming in, guys getting paid, and they even changed the contractual structure. Remember, big Glenn Robinson, he wanted $100 million coming in for Purdue. And they were like, nah, we ain't giving it to him. He got 68. Other guys, Shaq got 50. Grant Hill got his 30. Like, guys were getting paid coming into the league. And the old heads were upset about it because they ain't putting no groundwork. But those things, and they noticed that next group and then the next group. And by the time we got to 96, a lot of these young kids were superstars, and the coaches let them be who they are. And you get to the NBA, you're dealing with a grown man that has to be responsible for your actions, and you don't want to hear that. And this is where we are. Now, look, exactly. These are their nephews. These are their sons. They're not trying to hear you. You know what I mean? And that's part of the reason why the game is going where it's going, because you're letting the players lead the direction instead of the coaches being the coaches. Like the reason why we love college, when you watch Duke, it looked like Coach K. When you watch North Carolina, it looked like Dean Smith. It looked like Bobby Cremins at Georgia Tech. It looked like, Lou Conasecca at St. John's. All these coaches had their identity, and the players facilitated what was going on within that structure. That's what we look for. That's how you find a star. You find a star player who can play within structure and still get his off. A lot of these guys, we're going to create an offense around you, and then you're like, what kind of life is that? You know what I mean? You can't. You're right. Scottie isn't there yet. You're absolutely right. Scottie isn't there yet. And but it's not only him. A lot of these kids aren't there yet because they're not built to have a team built around them. You know what I mean? None of them are. There is no kid that I've seen in the last, you could say, since AI and Kobe, like guys who come out and you be like, I can build my team around them. You can't. You got to they have to be a part of what you got going on and then build into greatness, kind of like what Giannis did. Giannis built into his greatness. Jason Kidd built that. Jason Kidd single-handedly built Giannis. We need a coach that looks at a kid, I'm going to build you, and then I'm going to build around you. Not have him come in and then say, I'm going to build around you, not knowing what his game is because you didn't have any part in him building the game in the first place. Yeah, I believe. Listen, I understand. I definitely understand. I mean, But when you look at Scottie's physique, he can't, like, you can't expect him to be able to go off the dribble. Like, you expect back him down, use your power, dip that shoulder, fade away, or jump hook. Let me see where I'm at as far as my. Oh shit, phone is dying. But yeah, y'all, I'm about to get going. My back is, I ain't gonna even lie to y'all, my back is killing me right now. I gotta take some Tylenol. But yo, we're gonna definitely do this again soon. Might be able to do this again tomorrow around the same time. Yeah, in the beginning, I think he did have him shooting from three a little too much in the beginning. Nah, that's no problem. Explore. I'll probably do this again tomorrow around the same time, around 1 o'clock. I'm gonna try and do this at least 2 or 3 times a week. Appreciate it. Appreciate. Bless up. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm starting to get in tune with the lives because it ain't about the topic I want to talk about. It's about us having a dope ass conversation. I like this better. I wish the live was more like, you know what I mean? Twitter Spaces. That shit would be crazy if we can get the voices in and have a different conversation. But this is fire. I like doing the lives. You know what I mean? I think some people come into the lives thinking we should just stay on one topic for an hour and a half, and that's not realistic. I should be talking about whatever y'all talk about, and we just have some fun that way. All right, y'all have a great day. I'm gonna holler at y'all. My back is killing me right now. Oh, we just gonna have some fun.